go. Hi guys, welcome. My name is London. If you're new here, welcome. This is a new channel that I just made recently because I love showing my favorite things in hopes that maybe someone out there might find something that they really love. I have a somewhat growing collection of bags. I've kind of put a pause on purchasing bags for a while, and most of my bags are leather, and I wanted to talk about my cat's over here. She's over here. I live on a busy street and there's reflections, and so she goes crazy for the reflections on the walls. Calm down, baby. Shh, calm down. I wanted to talk about why I purchased from Portland Leather Goods. I am someone who considers myself a yogi. I'm in the yoga teacher training program, and in many ways I've adopted somewhat of a Ayurvedic lifestyle, and I used to be very much against leather products, and over time that has changed, and so I wanted to talk about that. This is my baby Pluto. She's feeling a little playful at the moment, so calm down, sweetie. She had a good nap earlier, so now she's all energized. So first off, I want to say I used to be very against buying leather bags. I won't purchase a bag if it's a brand new leather, and what I mean by that is Portland Leather Goods, all of their bags are made out of recycled scraps from the beef industry, and so basically it's waste that otherwise would have ended up in a landfill. So technically the leather that they use is recycled. I'm pretty sure that's the case also with the brand The Sack, although I could be wrong about that. So that is my condition, is that I won't purchase a leather bag if it's unethically sourced. But with that, I used to be very against leather, and I would only buy pleather or faux leather, or canvas or nylon, things like that. As far as I'm concerned, I think canvas is ethically sourced. I need to do some research on that. I'm not 100% sure about canvas. I'm pretty sure it's fine in terms of ethics. But the thing about fake leather is that it's typically made from plastic materials, which causes the fueling of oil extraction. So basically the faux leather takes more energy and oil and chemicals and things like that to produce. And so it kind of defeats the purpose of using a faux leather, because a lot of people who are vegans, right, or just against leather products will use materials like faux leather. Maybe some people, don't do that as much nowadays. I feel like generally we're kind of a little bit more aware in terms of like environmental stuff, for the most part. But in case you didn't know, pleather is not environmentally friendly at all. And what happens, and what I've noticed in the past with my pleather or faux leather bags, is that they fell apart really, really easily. They would peel, they would fall apart, and it's not a durable material. And so what happens is, like, if you have a bag that's made out of faux leather and it falls apart, you can't really, maybe you could justify giving it to somebody or selling it, but I feel like for the most part, people that leads to waste, right? And that's another thing, is that these materials, once they're in the landfill, it doesn't break down like a natural resource would. So yes, so energy and chemical intensive to produce. Takes a lot of energy. I'm just kind of looking at my notes because I feel like I do this better when I have like organization in my brain, so I'm not going on tangents. But yeah, so the real leather is durable and less likely to peel or wear down. I have about 10 bags in my Portland leather goods collection, and a couple of them I bought secondhand from a fellow purse pal, as we like to say in the community of Portland leather goods. And so yeah, I do have a couple that I got secondhand, but all of their bags that they produce, as far as I'm concerned, are ethically made in terms of the actual production of the materials, and as far as the leather goes, the leather scraps. Also, one could argue that perhaps leather, in terms of genuine leather, is more likely to be biodegradable. I don't know for sure if that's the case. Some people would say that is the case. I've never experienced any decomposing, but then again, it'd probably take a very long time for that to happen, or maybe I'm sure that these bags are kind of coated with a certain, product that kind of preserves that. I'm not really sure as far as how that works. But in general, using recycled leather does reduce the carbon footprint of producing the products. Another thing I wanted to point out for myself in terms of talking about consumption, right? So, as a yogi, it kind of goes against this culture to overconsume. And I've never considered myself to be a minimalist. I'm not. I used to want to be a minimalist. I feel like that's not really my lifestyle. I'm a Libra Scorpio, so I'm drawn to things that are beautiful. I do like living in a space that feels comfortable and it doesn't feel cluttered, but at the same time, I thrive at all my little trinkets and stuff like that. I do love to collect things, and I don't really spend a lot of money on clothes ever. I get gifted clothes a lot. This was gifted to me. And usually when I'm buying clothes, unless it's leggings or something, I'm pretty much always thrifting, or at least for the most part trying to focus on, purchasing clothes that were already used. So as far as consumption goes, I don't feel like I really spend a whole lot of money on fabrics and materials, especially new materials. I'm not a shoe person. I know a lot of women love to collect shoes and stuff like that. I'm really not into that stuff. But bags, I've always loved bags. I don't know why. I think that it's kind of an accessory for me. I'd much rather have a nice bag than a nice pair of shoes or a nice watch or a nice necklace or anything like that. And I don't know why. I think I just really feel comfortable when I have something holding the things that I love. I'm also very much sensitive to textures, and I'm a sensory person. I cannot do suede. It's hard for me to do canvas. Any material that's too rough or too soft, I'm very funny about that kind of thing. Having a nice leather bag just feels really good. And the other thing, I don't know if this is gonna make sense or sound cheesy or something, but every time that I get my hands on something that was made out of leather scraps, it's hard to explain. I kind of mentally, emotionally honor whatever the animal was that was, had a life at one point before it was that bag. And so to me, it's like, okay, I'm not wasting as much products, and I am honoring who this cow once was. It sounds horrible when I say it out loud, but in my head it sounds kind of like I'm honoring it. I don't know how to explain it, but I try not to overconsume is kind of where I was going with that. And in the past, when I've used pleather bags, like I'll give you an example. There was this one adorable crossbody bag that I bought from, I believe it was Macy's, like back in like 2017 or something like that. And it was adorable. It was like this ruby red color, and it was faux leather, and it was this adorable little kind of like a camera bag style bag, and it was awesome. It had like 2 openings, so it like had like a seam in the middle, and there was 2 openings, and it just had all these pockets and everything. And I loved it. I loved that bag. I thought it was so cute. I just wanted to carry it around all the time. And I want to say that it only lasted me like a month or a couple months, which is crazy. And I didn't spend a whole lot of money on it, wasn't, whatever. But the point is that it fell apart really, really fast. And I remember being sad because I loved that bag, and I felt like I took pretty good care of it. I took it on a big trip and everything like that, but whatever. The point is that I had to get rid of it because the way that it fell apart was like it was not even usable at that point. And I was kind of shocked at how fast that happened. And I've experienced that with other pleather bags in the past. And then learning about, the materials that are in the pleather bags, I'm like, oh, okay, time to move on from that. So I try to avoid those products nowadays. But I just wanted to give you a couple examples of like how I think of the bags that I get and how I'm like intentional about what I like to purchase. I'm not the type of person that has to have every single color, every single style. The tough thing about Portland leather goods is that their stuff is so amazing that it's like kind of addictive in a way. Like you open a bag and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Or you have like a little, pouch or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, it smells so good. There's something about it that like it gives me something in my life, and I can't describe it, but that's the problem, is that like they're so beautiful and like wonderful, and they just feel so good. But at the same time, I'm very strict with myself to a degree as far as like how many products I can justify having. So my rule is to stay around 10 or less bags. To some people that might seem like a lot, to other people that might seem like a very small amount. I know people that have like 50 bags or more, and that's totally fine. I'm not here to judge, but to me, for my personal life, I feel like that's way too many for myself. And I feel like even 10 is kind of a lot, but the way I justify it is I have certain bags for certain outfits, certain occasions, things like that. And I want to do a separate video kind of going more into that. But just to give you an example, so one of my favorite Portland leather goods bags is this little shoulder bag. This is called the Nora, and this is a classic, not the large. This one is such a great date night bag, or like if you're running errands and all you need is like your phone, wallet, and keys, something like that. This is perfect for that. But if I'm going somewhere where I need to carry a lot of things, obviously this isn't going to work for me. And so in my collection, I have 3 date night bags, and this is one of them. And obviously this is like a purple color, as you can see. So the other 2 are colors that might work with other outfits, and I kind of tend to wear the same color scheme. So yeah, this is one of my date night bags. And then this is another example. This is one of my larger bags. This might be my favorite. I don't know. I can't decide, but this is also from Portland Leather Goods, the large bucket. This thing will hold everything. I have never stuffed it enough to like to maximum capacity. Can't talk. I've never stuffed it to maximum capacity. It's such a big bag, and I love this thing, and it's awesome. But like, if I'm going on a date, probably not going to want to take everything I have. You know what I mean? Or like going to a nice event, like I'm going to want a smaller bag. And then my third example, this is from the brand The Sack, and I made a video on this one. This one I got secondhand off Facebook Marketplace. This one's a great bag because it doesn't feel huge, but it holds a lot of stuff. But also this works for if you just have a couple things, like if I just have my phone, wallet, and keys, this is also a great bag for that. So my point with all this is saying I have a purpose for every single item that I have, and at this point I'm done buying. I just bought myself a birthday present. Well, my birthday's at the end of the month, but I just bought myself a birthday present bag, which I will do a video on, and I'm super excited about that. And that one's very versatile and practical, and it definitely has its own purpose, different to all my other bags. But at this point I'm done purchasing leather bags. So with the one I just purchased, that's my 10th Portland Leather Goods bag, and then I have that one that I just showed you from The Sack. So that would be 11 leather bags, but that's it. And I might downsize in the future. Sometimes I kind of outgrow certain styles and things like that. But yeah, so that's my little explanation of why I purchased from this brand and this other one from The Sack. But as I said, I got that secondhand from Marketplace. I didn't purchase from the website. But yeah, so I definitely intend to adopt more of the Ayurvedic lifestyle into my own personal life. But yeah, so that's just kind of my justification as to why I purchased these bags, and they will last forever. I don't see myself outgrowing this one at all, ever. I think I will have this forever, and I want to be buried with it, honestly. I love this thing so much. And it has that like hippie, like boho feel to it, so even better. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will be posting a video soon with the new purchase, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll get that up in the next few days. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.